Hey everyone, Katie here with Magical Mystical Journeys. I'm so excited to come to you today because one of the questions we get a lot in the podcast or your emails and your comments is, I want to connect to these beings, all the beings that we explore and more, but I don't know how. I've never done that. And so we're going to talk a little bit today about Brigid, and we explored Brigid in the very first episode of this season of the podcast. So definitely check that out if you haven't already. And Bridget is such a wonderful being and unknown, like completely unknown to Amy, to Andrea, and myself, was that we had all three connected with her and resonated with her before we even started the podcast. And when we found that out, like she was special to all of us, we knew that we had to give her a big, warm welcome. And that's why she's the very first being that we explore in season 2. And her feast day is coming up, like the feast day of Saint Bridget. And as you'll learn in the episode, we have Saint Bridget, who kind of explores the Christian dimension of early Celtic Christian Ireland, but she was also in existence before she became a Christian saint as a pre-Christian goddess of ancient Celtic Ireland. And so she's this fascinating figure. She crosses bridges, she explores many dimensions at once, and she has enough space to hold all of this complexity about her. And later she becomes Mama Brigitte in the voodoo hoodoo tradition as well. That's something Andrea knows a lot more about than I do. But I love it that she has this multiplicity about her. So I want to show you a few things about Bridget that are in my household because it so happens that my birthday is also her feast day. When I found that out, the connection was cemented. I knew that this was bound to be for me since even before I was born, that I was supposed to have some affinity with Bridget, which I most certainly do. So I started counting in my house all the things I have in my house that are related to Bridget, and it's well over 20. It's a little ridiculous. In my room alone, where I am right now, I'm counting one, two, five, just here in my office. So I want to share some of these with you. We are getting ready to host a whole day that is going to be all about connection to Bridget. We're going to have a 2-hour workshop. All of you are invited. I would love to have you along. In this 2-hour workshop, we're going to be connecting. I'm going to share rituals. I'm going to share stories. And by the end of the 2 hours, you will have connected with this being. And we're going to have some fun too. One of the things I love about Bridget is that she can be both very playful, she can be very mischievous, and she can kind of be like a stern, like, hey, let's get your house in order. Like, let's get done what needs to get done. So let me show you a few of the St. Bridget stuff and just Bridget things that I have around my house, tell you their stories. And then maybe if you're wanting to connect a little more, the workshop will be for you. So the very first thing I have is my necklace. So this is in the form of what we call a St. Bridget's cross. When it has 4 spokes like this, it is kind of symbolic of the Christian cross. You can also have one that has 3 that's a little more symbolic of the pagan expression of Bridget, of the pre-Christian expression of Bridget. And so I love this cross. I got this, I kept on being drawn to it, and I'll tell you the story a little more in length in the workshop, but I kept on being drawn to it at this event, and at the time, I really couldn't afford it at the time, but I kept on going back and back and back to it. And finally, I decided to pay for it with this credit card. And it was only later, like when I got home and I started researching her a little bit, I was like, oh my gosh, I share a birthday with this saint's feast day. So that was pretty amazing. So I wear this one quite a lot, keep it pretty close to my heart. One of the other things I have is this, and this is called, yeah, this one is called Brigids Vision. Sorry, it's kind of reflecting on the glass there. But you can see elements of the cross in here. And this is some of the visions, some of the dreams that she had are represented in here. There's a whole story about her cloak, about her mantle being spread. I tell that in the podcast. We'll explore it a little bit more. And there's a lot of rituals to invoke her blessing on the eve of Bridget's Saint Day, which is January 31st, which, by the way, is when we're having the workshop. So you'll be able to also do that to get your own cloak that's symbolic of her mantle and spread it out for her blessing. And I just love the energy of this with all the beautiful colors, reminiscent of those connections that we can create with the divine that Bridget also had, that we see the stories of her in her earthly form express. And then the last one I want to show you is this. It's just this little doll. You can see her cross here that she's holding. I love this little shawl, oh my gosh, around her. So I was in Ireland in a little town called Spittle, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, and it was really cold and windy. I was in this artist village. I mean, I'd been there actually many times. But we were just on our way to the car. I was just on my way to the car, And I was like, there's one more I just felt that pull. I was like, there's one more shop I really want to go in. Let me run in. I saw her and I knew exactly why I needed to be in that shop. When I didn't look at anything else, got this representation of Bridget, and then brought it home. And so she sits on my mantle all year long. And one of the stories about Bridget is that she is a midwife to Jesus, midwife to Mary as Jesus is being born. Well, this makes no logical sense because Bridget lives in the 5th or 6th century. Jesus was born, 500 years ahead of time. But one of the things I love about her is like, she doesn't care about the time difference. If she needs to be a midwife to Mary during the birth of Jesus, she'll be a midwife to Mary during the birth of Jesus. And so you see, she's kind of like wrapped up against the cold here. And so during Christmas time, she sits by my nativity because she's preparing to be a midwife. So, one of the things we're going to be exploring in the workshop is how this energy of Brigid can come forward to us in our lives now. This day is falling for most of us in the Northern Hemisphere. It's freezing cold, and it seems like winter is never going to end. Brigid's energy on this beautiful day reminds us that everything has a season. And she invites us to plant seeds for our future. Her skills as a midwife are going to help us usher in whatever is next in our lives. We're going to be bringing that forward, setting some intentions for what we want to have come forward, connecting with Brigid, with the energy of Brigid, and she will be providing whatever you need the most right now. Do you need a little more play in your life? We'll have a little more play. Do you need a little more structure? She can actually help you provide that too. So she'll come to us in whatever form we need and however we need it. Going to be sharing more stories. I had this incredible experience at St. Brigid's Well at one point in time, and she's gone international. She's here to help all of us. So I would love to have you connect in this way. Hopefully this video helped you connect just a little bit. Maybe we can just everyone pause. I'll invite you to maybe envision the shape of the St. Brigid's cross, either 3-legged or 4-legged. Often imagine this as being placed up on me with all 4 corners. And you can imagine that cross spinning even just a little bit and bringing that vortex of energy into you, into your life, with whatever you need the most. So that's just one small form of connection that everyone's invited to. We'll be doing more and more and more of that in a little more than a week. So I'd love to see you all there. All right, everyone, tag me tag the podcast if there's any questions that you have, and I will talk to everyone really soon. Bye.